Making the headlines tonight. Prime Minister Hun Sen has been selected as the winner of the 2022 Sunhak Peace Prize Founders Award. Prime Minister Hun Sen said he could not guarantee peace of mind for all people, especially those who are corrupt. But what he can guarantee is life without death or injury due to war. NATO announces no plans to deploy combat troops to non-NATO member Ukraine in the event of a Russian invasion. Despite concerns about the pandemic and mounting international criticisms of its human rights record, China pushes ahead with the world's biggest winter sports event. And after a pandemic-caused hiatus, San Francisco's Chinese New Year Festival and Parade finally returns to the city's famed Chinatown neighborhood this year. This is the Daily Roundup on EAC News Channel. A very good evening to you. I'm Darshana Gochan. Prime Minister Hun Sen has been selected as the winner of the 2022 Sunhak Peace Prize Founders Award, which will be presented to him at an award ceremony on 12 February 2022 in Seoul, South Korea. EAC News reporter Straipor Kong has more.
The chair of the Sunhak Peace Foundation, Thomas G. Walls, wrote a letter to Prime Minister Hun Sen on 25 January, informing him that he was selected to receive the 2022 Sunhak Peace Prize Founder Award, due to his steadfast leadership over many years as Prime Minister of Cambodia, which has contributed to stability, economic development, and peace both in Cambodia and Southeast Asia. He wrote it saying that the committee recognized the Prime Minister's effort to promote peace in the wider region of the Asia-Pacific, including his call for the establishment of an Asia-Pacific Union. Therefore, the Sunhak Peace Prize Foundation is respectfully offered him in recognition of his contribution to peace and human development. The Sunhak Peace Prize was established in 2015 to honor the peace version of its founders, the late Reverend Sum Yong Moon and Dr. Hacha Han Moon. The award was established to recognize individuals and organizations that have served humanity in exemplary ways, making the world better for future generations. The committee has mentioned that they will be honored to have Prime Minister Hun Sen accept this award in person in South Korea and deliver a message of hope for a peaceful future of humanity. The Sunhak Peace Foundation wishes to work hand in hand with Cambodia Premier to build a wall of peace for future generations. Sri Pokong, EAC News.
Prime Minister Hun Sen sent a message saying that he could not guarantee peace of mind for all people, and even more so for bad people. But what he can guarantee is life without death or injury due to war. He made the statement while speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony for the new flyover in Rusekau district on Monday. Prime Minister Hun Sen has said that he considers the statements from some analysts that if there are protests occurring in the country will not be at peace to be unsubstantiated claims. He said there are protesters all over the world and the existence of protesters alone would not be able to properly indicate whether a country is peaceful or not. He stressed that this is not a problem anyone has to worry about and that he guarantees there will be no more wars in Cambodia like in the past. He said that peace has allowed Cambodia to improve its living standards and allowed its citizens to move freely in the country. He continued to directly ask those who have made accusations that people have become poorer under his leadership to come forward and swear or make an oath to their cause. He continued that those who curse him say that people in Cambodia are getting poorer and life is getting harder for them, but he pushed that it was harder in the past and said people used to walk barefoot but today can ride motorbikes and cars. It has been 23 years since Cambodia achieved peace and national reconciliation, gained full national unity under a single government, reaped from the success of the Prime Minister's win-win policy, which was formed after experiencing national division which had lasted more than 500 years in the kingdom's history. Achieving complete peace has given the royal government numerous opportunities to develop the country till date. Prime Minister Hun Sen often states that he would not allow Cambodia to fall into a state of war as before, and has declared that peace must be maintained at any cost. Prime Minister Hun Sen has said that the Cambodian People's Party and the Cambodian people will never forget 7th January Victory over Genocide Day, and that even if they have to go to war to protect this day, they will dare to do so. EAC News reporter Chamrong Rithisit has more.
The Prime Minister made this statement while speaking at the groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of a new flyover along National Road 5 at the intersections of the concrete bridge across the Basak River in Roseikau district on Monday morning. The Prime Minister stated that the CPP needs to send a message to its compatriots. The Prime Minister stated that the CPP needs to send a message to its compatriots that during the COVID-19 era, everyone must be careful, even during holidays. He continued that some analysts have questioned why CPP members have refused to celebrate 7 January in 2021 and once more in 2022. The Premier explained that this year, he had been traveling to Myanmar on this day, but from the analysis, it seems that members of the CPP are likely retreating from Vietnamese influence connected to the day. He stated that even though Vietnam came to aid Cambodia in liberations, the story of 7 January is still very much about the lives of Cambodian people. He urged everyone to understand this very clearly. Chumrong Retiset, EAC News.
The groundbreaking ceremony for a new flyover in Roseikau district was held this morning and presided over by Prime Minister Hun Sen. The flyover is located along National Road 5 at the intersection of the Roseikau Cable Bridge, which connects National Road 5 with Choi Chang Var Satellite City across the Tonle Sap River. EAC News reporter Sraipor Kong has more.
According to a report from the governor of Phnom Penh, Khun Sreng, the sixth flyover will have a total length of 483 meters, a width of 50.8 meters, and a height of 5 meters, with a construction budget of nearly $10 million, and will be built by a Cambodian foreign investment company, OCIC, for an estimated length of 15 months ending in March 2023. Prime Minister Hun Sen said the new flyover is necessary to reduce traffic congestion at the intersection of Roseikau Bridge at National Road 5. Phnom Penh currently has a total of 5 flyovers that are already completed and in use. Another flyover around Cham Chau Roundabout is under construction and more than 90% complete. Sri Pokong, EAC News.
The Ministry of Public Works and Transport plans to directly connect water transport from Basak River to the sea in Kep Province after completing the new mega project waterway system. At the closing ceremony of the meeting to summarize the work results of 2021 and the direction of work for 2022, held on 28th January, the Minister of Public Works and Transport, Sun Chantol, said that the ministry is considering plans to connect the waterways of Basak River directly to the sea without having to go through the international lead port of Vietnam. Senior Minister Sun Chantol confirmed that the ministry has completed a study on the master plan to connect Basak River to the sea in Kep Province and has already reported this matter to Prime Minister Hun Sen and the Minister of Interior. The ministry is further studying the impact and size of the cost of this project. The Minister of Public Works said that this mega project waterway system will help to develop the water transport sector, and provinces such as Takeo will benefit from this downstream connection. The ministry is also developing a number of riverbank satellites as a strategy to boost waterway transport, to bring port services closer to consumers and make local ports have the potential to support national economic growth and reduce poverty. The Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Prak Sokhonn, confirmed to the UN Security Council on 28th January that the ASEAN Foreign Ministers meeting will now be held on 16th to 17th February. EAC News reporter Sraipor Kong has more details.
According to Deputy Prime Minister Prak Sokhonn, the meeting will discuss the arrangement for his first visit to Myanmar as the ASEAN Special Envoy, the priority of implementing the 5-point consensus and organizing multilateral consultative meetings on humanitarian assistance with the support and cooperation of the ASEAN Secretaries and the UN Special Representative of the Secretary-General UNSG. Also to be discussed is the Special Envoy's work to gather all practical humanitarian approach from expert, local, regional and international humanitarian agency to facilitate the immediate delivery of humanitarian assistance to Myanmar. Deputy Prime Minister Prasakan stressed that all these activities are based on the spirit of the 5-point consensus and the ASEAN Charter, and there are many other issues, challenges for ASEAN to address beside the crisis in Myanmar, including the need to improve the welfare of the whole region. He specifically stated, "We cannot let the crisis in Myanmar pull us backward, and we must work together to address these challenges together." The ASEAN Foreign Minister meeting was previously scheduled to be held on 18 and 19 January. But due to the difficulties related to travel and attendance among many ASEAN foreign ministers, the meeting was postponed. The ASEAN Foreign Minister Retreat, also known as the AMM Retreat, was established in 1967 to focus on ASEAN political security cooperation and ASEAN member relations with external parties within the ASEAN region. The AMM meets at least 4 times a year and may also convene for special meetings when necessary to discuss issues that need urgent attention from ASEAN. The AMM regularly reviews and discusses efforts to build the ASEAN community, its strategic future direction, and the conduct of ASEAN external relations. Sri Pokong, EAC News.
Prime Minister Hun Sen has urged citizens to continue implementing strict health measures and receiving COVID-19 booster shots, particularly the 4th dose for those eligible, to continue maintaining high community immunity, ensuring the continuation of social activities, and a fully restored and safe economy. During the handover ceremony of the 300,000 doses of AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccines arriving from the Republic of Poland held at the Council of Ministers on Sunday morning, Prime Minister Hun Sen stated that vaccines are a key measure to controlling the spread of COVID-19 and bringing the ongoing health crisis to an end. He cited the success of the national vaccination campaign as the primary reason why Cambodia was able to announce the end of the 20th February 2021 community transmission event in December. He said the success of the national vaccination campaign has boosted the Cambodian economy beyond expectations, adding that the Cambodian economy is predicted to have grown by 3% in 2021 and is predicted to grow by more than 5% in 2022 through a full national reopening and return to normal socio-economic activities in all sectors. Cambodia fully reopened the country on 1 November 2021 and called an end to the 20th February community transmission event on 20th December 2021 after 10 months of outbreak. The growing spread of the new Omicron variant around the world, however, has prompted governments to be more vigilant, hence vaccinating more people is a top priority. During the handover, the Prime Minister also thanked the Republic of Poland for providing Cambodia with COVID-19 vaccine assistance, stating that the aid from the people and the government of the Republic of Poland will make a significant contribution to the fight against COVID-19 in Cambodia. The European ambassador to Cambodia and representative of the Republic of Poland, Carmen Moreno, stated that under the leadership of Prime Minister Hun Sen, the royal government of Cambodia has had the ability to improve the healthcare system and protect the lives of citizens. She added that today Cambodia is one of the most vaccinated countries in the world and is on the way toward a safe reopening. Cambodia has vaccinated about 90% of its 16 million population, which has enabled the kingdom to control the spread of COVID-19 within the community, reduce hospitalizations and death rates, and maintain the continuance of socioeconomic activities. The vaccines deployed in Cambodia include Sinopharm, AstraZeneca, Sinovac, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, and Pfizer. Cambodia began its 4th dose vaccination campaign on 14th January 2022 and has so far reached over 450,000 people. Cambodia has reported 56 new COVID-19 cases, of which 9 are imported. There have been 107 patient recoveries and once again, no new deaths. The kingdom recorded 47 new community and 9 new imported cases of the new variant. Cambodia has now recorded 914 cases of Omicron, 481 imported, and 433 community cases. Cambodia's COVID-19 case tally has now climbed to 121,355. The death toll stands at 3,015. The number of patients treated successfully since the pandemic reached Cambodia is 117,535, and the tally for imported cases has climbed to 20,338. Healthcare workers are now treating a total of 837 patients. NATO has no plans to deploy combat troops to non-NATO member Ukraine in the event of a Russian invasion, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg has announced on Sunday, January 30th.
NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg has emphasized the limits of NATO's partnership with Ukraine, stating that the security guarantees that an attack on one ally will trigger a response from the whole alliance does not apply to Ukraine, since it is not a NATO ally. Britain's Foreign Secretary Liz Truss also told the BBC's Sunday morning show that it is very unlikely British soldiers would be sent to fight alongside Ukrainian troops in the event of a Russian invasion. Through it was highly likely Russia was looking to invade Ukraine.
We have no plans to deploy NATO combat troops to Ukraine. NATO allies have trainers there. We help them from NATO with building capacity, modernizing their defenses, including their cyber defenses. NATO allies also provide equipment, defensive weapons, like the UK has now provided, for instance, anti-tank weapons. So we do a lot of stuff to help Ukraine strengthen its capability to defend itself. But again, Ukraine is not a NATO ally, so the 100% security guarantees that an attack on one ally will trigger a response from the whole alliance, that applies for NATO allies, not for a close and highly valued partner.
But just to be very clear, you say
we are concerned about the energy situation in Europe because it demonstrates the vulnerability of being too dependent on one supplier of natural gas, and that's the reason why NATO allies agree that we need to work and focus on diversification of supplies. And we also took very carefully note of what the International Energy Agency said recently, that Russia has manipulated the European gas market by holding back supplies.
we think it's highly likely that he is looking to invade Ukraine. That is why we're doing all we can through deterrence and diplomacy to urge him to desist. We don't, it's very unlikely, and the Defence Secretary is being clear about that. But what we are doing is we're training up Ukrainian soldiers.
From Monday to Friday, Alexander works as an IT programmer, and Konstantin Semchuk freelances in online advertising. On Saturday, January 29th, the two met others in an abandoned construction site on the outskirts of Kiev to train as Ukrainian army reservists, ready to be called up in the event of any war breaking out with neighboring Russia. Nervous over the threat of some 120,000 Russian troops massed near the border with Ukraine, Kiev has now launched a new territorial defense force this year, which it wants to build up into a corps of up to 130,000 people.
Reservists like Alex and Semchuk could be tasked with protesting civilian sites in Kiev amid any conflicts. "I am worried," said Semchuk, the 43-year-old freelancer who has said he had so far avoided any contact with the military after serving a year in the Eastern Donbas region in 2014 to 2015 during Ukraine general mobilization. But now, the situation is such that it is needed. While IT programmer Alex Sands took part in the 2013 to 2014 Maidan mass pro-democracy protest in Kyiv, he had said he did not feel ready to fight when Moscow reacted to the overthrow of Ukraine pro-Russia president by annexing Crimea. "Now, I'm in my mid-30s, and it's time for me to join," he said, saying it was better to do so before it was too late. Saturday trainings has brought together about 70 locals, some in full infantry gear, with hunting rifles and combat experience from Russia's annexations of Crimea in 2014 and conflict with separatist rebel fighting government troops in eastern Ukraine. Others in sneakers and casual sportswear were handed marked wooden rifles. The motley crews of reservists have shared a feeling that Ukraine, formerly a Soviet republic, wanted to decide its own fate independently of its old overlord Moscow. Konstantin has said he wanted to live in a peaceful, flourishing country like Poland, like Czech Republic, like Germany, like all European countries. Although the United States has warned that a military intervention is likely and imminent, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that too much panic is hurting the economies of 41 million people. While Moscow insists it doesn't want a war, it has also dismissed calls to withdraw its troops, saying it can deploy them as it sees fit on its own territory. It has cited the Western response as evident that it is the target, not the instigators of aggression.
Authorities are rushing to prevent an oil spill in eastern Thailand from damaging fragile coral, after officials have said on January 30th that the leak that began last week was drifting towards more coastal areas. A beach in eastern Thailand was declared a disaster site on Saturday, as oil leaking from an underwater pipeline in the Gulf of Thailand has continued to wash ashore and blacken the sand, and reaching the beaches of Rayong. The governor of a province in eastern Thailand on Saturday has declared a state of emergency to assist in the cleanup efforts on a beach hit by an oil slick. The Minister of Natural Resources and the Environment, Varawut Silparcha, has said it was crucial to try to prevent the main mass of oil from reaching the shore at Ao Prao, a small bay on Koh Samet, which is a popular resort island. If the oil reaches this area, it could impact the beach and cause heavy damage to the shallow water corals, Varawut has said. The oil began leaking from a pipeline owned by Star Petroleum Refining Public Company Limited late on Tuesday. Before it was brought under control, an estimated 50,000 liters or 13,209 gallons of oil escaped into the ocean 20 kilometers from the coastline of eastern Thailand. Mae Ramphung Beach in Rayong Province has declared a disaster area on Saturday after some oil came ashore on Friday. Most of the oil has formed a thin film rather than a thick oil slick. The Navy has said that about 150 SPRC workers and 200 Navy personnel have been deployed to clean up the beach, and oil boom barriers have also been set up. 12 Navy ships and 3 civilian ships along with a number of aircraft were also working to contain the spill at sea with booms and dispersant spray. And now for a look at news making international headlines this Monday, 31st January.
A 6-car deadly crash in North Las Vegas on Saturday, January 29, took the life of 9 when a Dodge Challenger traveling at a high rate of speed ran through a red light and crashed with multiple vehicles at an intersection. 6 others were injured.
Today at 3 p.m., officers received a call about a traffic collision involving multiple vehicles in the area of Cheyenne and Commerce, in reference to multiple vehicles involved in a collision. Upon arrival, officers did locate the traffic collision, and with that, I'm going to update you a little bit more details. Preliminary investigation revealed the following. A Dodge Challenger was traveling northbound on Commerce, approaching the intersection at a high rate of speed. Upon that, witnesses stated that the Dodge Challenger did run a red light and struck multiple vehicles, causing a chaotic event. As for the vehicles involved, it involves a maroon Dodge Challenger, a white Toyota Seneca, a white Ford Fusion, a tan Chevy Malibu, a white Hyundai Tucson, and a white Mercedes SUV. Some of the vehicles, after being struck, were pushed into the northeast lot, a vacant lot at that, of the intersection. A total of 15 people were involved in this incident. There has been a total confirmed of 9 deceased, ages ranging from young juveniles to middle-aged adults. 2 people were transported to UMC in reference to their injuries. 1 person remains in critical condition, while the other one has succumbed to their injuries.
The driver of the Dodge Challenger was among the dead, police has confirmed, adding that speed is a factor in the crash that took place on Saturday afternoon. The ages of those who died, 1 juvenile and middle-aged adults. In total, 15 people were involved in the incident. 1 person remained in the critical condition at the University Medical Center.
A drone footage showed an oil spreading around the parts of Ecuador affected by the ruptures of a crude pipeline. Black oil could be seen flowing into the river in the Piedrafina area. The pipeline has burst on Friday, January 28, in Ecuador Amazon, where regressing erosions have caused the OCP Ecuador pipeline and the state-owned SOTE pipeline to halt pumping in December, forcing the government to declare force majeure over its oil export and productions. OCP Ecuador, the operators of the pipeline, has said on Friday that the pipeline burst in an area which is not directly exposed to the rivers, and that is control the oil flow. However, indigenous organization Confini has said community were already being affected.
North Korea has launched another suspected ballistic missile into the sea off its east coast on Sunday, 30th January, governments in the region have reported, in what would be the nuclear-armed country's 7th test this month. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff have reported that a projectile believed to be a single ballistic missile was launched at around 7:52 a.m. on Sunday from North Korea's Jagang province toward the ocean off its east coast. The Japanese government has also said North Korea launched a possible ballistic missile. Jagang province was the site of 2 earlier launches this month of what North Korea called hypersonic missiles, which can reach high speeds while maneuvering at relatively low altitudes. If this missile launch is also confirmed, it could make January the busiest month ever for North Korea's missile program, which analysts say is expanding and developing new capabilities despite strict sanctions and United States Security Council resolutions that ban the country's ballistic missile tests. Japanese government spokesperson Chief Cabinet Secretary Hirokazu Matsuno said during a televised briefing that if the projectile was a standard ballistic missile, it is estimated to have reached an altitude of 2,000 kilometers and flown for 30 minutes over a distance of 800 kilometers. Analysts say if confirmed, those numbers could indicate one of the largest missile tests by North Korea in years. North Korea has not tested its longest-range intercontinental ballistic missiles or nuclear weapons since 2017, but the country's rulers suggested that this month they could restart those activities. The CEO of Korea Risk Group, Chad O'Carroll, wrote on Twitter that all signs suggest this is a big test, not performing as well as prior North Korean ICBMs, but could have been deliberately flown on a more limited trajectory. The tests come less than a week before the opening of the Winter Olympics in Beijing, which is North Korea's main political and economic partner. Pyongyang has said it would be skipping the games because of the COVID-19 pandemic and hostile forces. In an address ahead of the new year, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un called for bolstering the military with cutting-edge technology at a time when talks with South Korea and the United States have stalled. Since then, North Korea has conducted a series of launches displaying a dizzying array of weapon types, launch locations, and increasing sophistication. From hypersonic missiles and long-range cruise missiles to missiles launched from railcars and airports, the tests highlight the nuclear-armed states' rapidly expanding and advancing arsenal amid stalled denuclearization talks. The ballistic missile launch and the ones before it are a threat to our country, the region, and the international community, Secretary Matsuno said, adding that these series of launches violate UN resolutions and are strongly protested. The tests appear aimed at modernizing North Korea's military, bolstering national pride ahead of several major North Korean holidays, and sending a message of strength as the country grapples with economic crises caused by sanctions and COVID-19 lockdowns, said Leif Erik Easley, a professor of international studies at Ewha University in Seoul. The Kim regime hears external discussions of its domestic weaknesses and sees South Korea's growing strength, he said. So it wants to remind Washington and Seoul that trying to topple it would be too costly. Its latest launches have included a test of 2 short-range ballistic missiles and their warheads on Thursday, and an update to a long-range cruise missile system was tested on Tuesday. Pyongyang has defended the launches as its sovereign right of self-defense and say they are not directed at any specific country, but accused Washington and Seoul of having hostile practices. Kim Jong-un visited a munitions factory last week, where he called for an all-out drive to produce powerful cutting-edge arms, and its workers touted his devotion to smashing the challenges of the U.S. imperialists and their vassal forces, seeking to violate their right to self-defense, calling it the harshest ever adversity. After the break, a look at all the latest sports news.
លោកអ្នកចិត្តរៀបអាពាហ៍ពិពាហ៍មែនទេហើយពិបាករកក្រុមហ៊ុនថតវីដេអូផ្សាយផ្ទាល់ដែលមានគុណភាពមែនទេអស់កង្វល់រ៉ាទីកាជាក្រុមហ៊ុនទទួលស្គាល់លំដាប់អន្តរជាតិលើសេវាកម្មថតផ្សាយផ្ទាល់គ្រប់កម្មវិធីកម្រិត 4K ដំបូងបង្អស់នៅកម្ពុជារ៉ាទីកាប្រើប្រាស់ឧបករណ៍ទំនើបម៉ាកល្បីធានាគុណភាពការផលិតតាមបច្ចេកវិទ្យាទាន់សម័យរ៉ាទីកានឹងជួយធ្វើឲ្យកម្មវិធីលោកអ្នកកាន់តែមានភាពអស្ចារ្យលោកអ្នកនឹងបានឃើញរាល់សកម្មភាពក្នុងពិធីទៅលើកញ្ចក់ទូរទស្សន៍ទំហំធំកម្រិត 4K និងការបញ្ចាំងលើផ្ទាំងក្រណាត់សព្រមទាំង LED ដែលមានរូបភាពច្បាស់ត្រជាក់ភ្នែកសូមអញ្ជើញកក់ពីឥឡូវនេះតាមរយៈលេខទូរស័ព្ទ012 823 848 017 838 889 និង016 823 848 រ៉ាហ្វីកាទំនុកចិត្តការទទួលខុសត្រូវនិងគុណភាពខ្ពស់
Despite concerns about the coronavirus pandemic and mounting international criticism of its human rights record, China has pushed ahead with the world's biggest winter sports event, scheduled from February 4th to February 20th. Beijing will also become the first city to host both the summer and winter games.
The Beijing 2022 Winter Olympics will kick off in 4 days. It will run from February 4 through February 20, with 15 sports and 109 medal events. Through the opening ceremonies on February 4, a few events get going 2 days prior to that. Early events will begin on February 2, Wednesday, and NBC primetime coverage begins on February 3, with live figure skating and men's and women's moguls. 91 countries will participate in the 2022 Winter Olympics with approximately 3,000 athletes. Because Beijing hosted the Summer Games in 2008, making it the first city to host both summer and winter games, several venues will be reused for the 2022 Games. The venues are divided into 3 zones: Beijing, Yanqing, and Zhangjiakou. In Beijing, there's the National Stadium, also known as the Bird's Nest, where the opening and closing ceremonies will be held. Also in this zone are the venues for curling, hockey, speed skating, short track speed skating, figure skating, and freestyle skiing and snowboard big air. The International Olympic Committee has said among the Beijing safety principles were that all fully vaccinated participants would enter what it called a closed-loop management system immediately upon their arrival, within which they will move freely. This will cover all games-related areas and stadiums as well as accommodation, catering, and the opening and closing ceremonies, served by a dedicated transport system. All domestic and international participants, as well as the workforce in the system, will be tested daily. COVID tests will be mandatory, and athletes will be restricted in their travels, the IOC has said. Spectators are allowed, but only from mainland China. For a full Olympic schedule and access to live streams, go to nbcolympics.com.
Despite concerns about the coronavirus pandemic and mounting international criticism of its human rights record, China has pushed ahead with the world's biggest winter sports event, scheduled from February 4th to February 20th. Beijing will also become the first city to host both the summer and winter games.
The agreement that was signed by Adama Traore included an option to make the transfer permanent, Barcelona has said in a statement.
I'm so happy to come back here. I think it's been a long time and I didn't be here, so for me it's a special moment because it's been many years I've been playing here. I grew up here in this town, I grew up here with my family, I grew up here with my friends, and I'm very happy, and it's a special moment. And after I would like to give back that happiness in the pitch, and that's all.
Traore is a product of Bakar La Masia Youth Academy, where Lionel Messi and manager Xavi Hernandez has developed. But he has played only 4 times for Catalan before moving to Aston Villa in August 2015 for 10 million euros or 11.14 million US dollars. A year later, Traore has joined Middlesbrough, where he has spent 2 seasons before signing for Wolver in 2018. His electric piece saw him finally reach his potentials and lead to Cordup from the country, whom he had seen represented 8 times.
Manchester United Football Club has announced on Sunday, January 30th, that its star striker Mason Greenwood will not return to training or play matches until further notice, after allegations of domestic violence emerged against the 20-year-old England player.
Greenwood won't play for Manchester United until further notice after being accused of assaulting a woman. Manchester United has made an announcement. Forward Mason Greenwood will not train or play for the Premier League club until further notice after being accused of assaulting a woman. The allegations, including video photographs and a voice note, were posted on Instagram on Sunday morning and later deleted. Mason Greenwood will not return to training or play matches until further notice, United has said in a statement. The club earlier has said in a statement they do not condone violence of any kind. Greenwood has 6 goals and 2 assists in 24 matches in all competitions for United this season. The 20-year-old began his career at United's academy and has played once for the England national team. Mason Greenwood has not yet responded to the allegations.
And now for a look at how the weather will be playing out tomorrow. And finally, after a hiatus last year due to the coronavirus pandemic, San Francisco's Chinese New Year Festival and Parade returns to the city's famed Chinatown neighborhood this year. The San Francisco Chinese New Year Festival officially kicks off on Tuesday, February 1st, with the start of the Lunar New Year. Its parade follows on Saturday, February 19th. However, the annual celebration began unofficially on Saturday.
It's really exciting, and it's also just really heartwarming. and it's long overdue. I think people are really just excited and can't wait for life to come back to normal. So in a way, this is hopefully a kickoff for that, for some normalcy. And of course, Chinese New Year, Lunar New Year is a time for celebration and gratitude. So for your family and all your loved ones, and for hopes and wishes for a better New Year.
This whole parade, everything, big staple of Chinatown. It's nice to see it finally come back. I think it's important for everybody in these daunting times.
It feels very exciting to come back. The feel of energy, the feel of vibe. For Chinese culture, is very important to hang out with family, be with friends, and to get together and kind of to mix the good energy around, to share the good vibes, share the good energy around. And so right now, it feels like a lot of the energies come back. So it's very encouraging for all of us in the Chinese culture.
Chinese New Year is one of the biggest event for the Chinese culture. And this is, I always describe it as a three of our American holidays rolled into one. It's like Thanksgiving, because as a matter of fact, instead of just one big family meal, we have many family gatherings. And it's like Christmas, instead of passing out gifts, we pass out wet envelopes. And there's no gift returning because they all have contain money. And then it's like Mardi Gras, a big parade, ended with a big celebration.
Since the pandemic, no one has really stepped outside of their house. This year, after vaccinations and many bouts of restrictions, people are finally starting to come out. Chinese New Year is about new beginnings, good luck, family, and community coming together. Lots of hope and good fortune. It is a very positive time of the year for everyone. The neighborhood's atmosphere has largely been subdued over the past 2 years, with the pandemic forcing the state to issue a shelter-in-place order in March 2020. In addition, Asian and Asian American communities have suffered from rising rates of hate crimes during the past 2 years. Statistics showed that 60 hate crimes were committed against Asians in San Francisco during 2021, up from only 9 the year before, city police announced this past week. But on Saturday, 29th January, the streets were packed with residents to pick up traditional holiday items such as the kumquat tree, which symbolizes good luck and prosperity, a variety of flowers which symbolize anything from fertility and abundance to endurance and courage, and special envelopes used to give cash. Several blocks from downtown, festival and parade director Harlan Wong has been busy preparing for the event's return. At an empty store in the Embarcadero Center, Wong is overseeing the construction of props for the parade, including a giant dragon. He compares Lunar New Year to Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Mardi Gras all rolled into one super holiday. He says he cannot wait for the official kickoff. For 2022, we're hoping to have a big comeback. We want to be roaring back like a tiger, he said. He added that the past 2 years have been rough for business and the neighborhood in general. Thank you for watching the Daily Roundup on EAC News Channel. For more breaking news and updates, you can check out our website, eacnews.asia, or search EAC News on Telegram or at your favorite app store. More from the EAC News team tomorrow night at 8 p.m. We will see you then.